What's up, guys? Evolutionary podcast coming your way. This is Steve Smi, and I'm with Rick.
Hey, what's up, guys? What's up, Steve?
And we have a caller who is on the line. And we have Seth on the line. Seth, how you doing, buddy? He's calling in. He's a longtime listener of the show, a big fan. And he's calling us from Boston.
Big fan, guys.
Yep. You got the
big
Boston
fan, guys.
accent?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's right, brother. East Coast in the building.
Yeah. We got a New Yorker and a Boston guy on the line. I'm from the South.
There we go.
We got a couple
Beautiful.
of Yankees here.
We got the East Coast cover from north to south, huh?
Exactly.
There we go. Cool, man.
So Seth,
Perfect.
He's a very inspiring story. We talked to him pre-show. So Seth, first tell us, we're going to talk about his steroid cycle a little bit later, but first we're going to talk about he was in a car accident. So Seth, how long ago were you in your car accident? Can you describe what happened? Did you get hit, like T-boned or something? You had a very serious injury. Tell us a little bit about that.
Basically, it was one of those cases where just a mix of stupidity and bad luck, because I was literally about a quarter mile from my house, driving when I shouldn't have been, going to see a young lady, and it was really late, and I must have, I don't know if I fell asleep or whatever, but anyway, I hit a parked vehicle, thank God, no one was hurt but myself, but it ended up being a blessing in the end, other than the fact I broke my C7 vertebrae in 3 places, and I was in a neck brace and immobile basically for 8 weeks, and completely unable to do anything physical, couldn't work, couldn't drive, obviously. But it's also inspiring the fact I stopped doing any drinking or anything like that as well. But I had done like one of my first or second cycles the year before and lost every ounce of muscle I had, which is, you guys know what it's like. I heard on the podcast a couple of weeks ago someone say the longest they'd went without working out. Was it you, Steve, that said 2 weeks was the longest you'd went without working out?
Yeah. I said I'd go crazy if I went without working out.
Dude, 8 to 10 weeks of no exercise whatsoever. It was absolute torture. It was just awful. I probably weighed 165 pounds towards the end, just scrawny, like miserable, but slowly got back into it as soon as the doctor said I was able to. Started training, and it really wasn't too long until I was able to do the real compounds like deadlifts and, squats and everything. Got back into it, and since I've been lifting since I was 15, I'm 34. I didn't wait too long to start a little bit of testosterone, a little bit of DECA, and I did a short cycle, put on like some nice size right away, did a little PCT, held on to it for a while, kept it getting some steady gains, and for a while now I've been doing another cycle, and at the last time I weighed myself, I was 210, and probably more lean than I've been since I was probably 18 at 34. I just basically, after my accident, had the near-death experience and everything with a broken neck, could have been paralyzed. God knows what could have happened. I could be in jail for doing something horrible. Stopped drinking.
So did you lose consciousness? Did you lose consciousness when you had the accident? You ended up in the hospital?
Honestly, the worst part, even worse than the broken neck, the concussion, I've never had one, was so bad. I barely remember the first month. Like, I was slurring my words. Like, I had such a bad traumatic brain injury that, like, I don't remember a whole lot of it. Like, it was really serious. Yeah.
I just ask one thing. I just got to ask this one thing. Did the doctor say that you were supposed to die in that accident, or did he say you were supposed to get paralyzed or anything like that? Did he say you were very lucky?
He said I was about a half an inch from severing my spinal cord, to be perfectly honest. So wow. I think that means death. Yeah. Yeah. So obviously it's kind of hard not to take that as a sign to change your life and, get your shit together and get healthy and, see what your body's capable of. That's why I've been pushing myself so hard this past, since October, and really seeing what my body's capable of. And I got married recently. I've been, ended up being a blessing in disguise, despite all the nightmare that comes along with getting like an OUI and a, broken neck. But other than that, I mean, it's turned out to be a blessing.
Yeah, you could turn any event into something good, no matter how bad it seems at first. If you
I mean, I could have wallowed in it and cried about it, like a lot of people do, and started doing painkillers. But I left the hospital, just took ibuprofen. I didn't start taking painkillers or anything. I just wanted
I'm sure they're
over.
willing
I
to
wanted
prescribe them for your kind of injury, right? For your type of injury, they were more than willing to prescribe them, I'm sure.
Yeah, they were, but honestly, it wasn't even that bad. Like I said, the worst part was
the choice not to take them. A lot of people get hooked on them really fast. You get hooked on them with
That's
the 3
the reason, dude.
Yeah.
My area, the heroin epidemic is just so crazy. Like I just, I have
Lawrence,
no interest in.
Massachusetts, you guys have Lawrence up there, right? It's where most of the
Yeah. I went to UMass Lowell, so I lived right next to Lawrence.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's a big epidemic there in Boston. So I'm glad
Absolutely.
you saw what was going on in the street. A lot smarter, because they would have prescribed you as much as you wanted with that neck injury, and you could have kept coming back more. They would have gave you as much as you wanted.
Oh yeah, I probably could have milked this a whole bunch of scumbag ways for a long time, but it's not really my character.
Well, see, that's one of those situations where this could have ruined your life if you gone that route, but instead you went the other way, and you took something from it. You learned something from it and changed your ways for the better.
Yeah.
That's good.
And of course, there is repercussions I will be dealing with, whether it's financial or auto related. But on the other hand, a lot more good did come of it. So, I mean,
the financial stuff. Nobody was hurt, so you don't have that on your mind. And
that's the
financial stuff.
Dude, the craziest thing. The craziest thing is the family who owned the vehicle that I struck was trying to contact me, trying to check on me constantly, and I was so embarrassed. I never got back to them, but they would just, because they came out apparently and were talking to me, waiting for the ambulance. They just saw a huge bubble on the back of my neck because it was all spinal fluid collecting on the back of my neck. And they were like, "Oh my God, this kid's going to die on our porch." But yeah, it's crazy, man. Crazy story.
Walking at all afterwards, or it was just the brain injury?
No, just the C7 broke 3 places, being immobilized in a neck brace for 8 weeks. Once I got that off, aside from my neck being really weak for a few weeks, like it doesn't even really hurt when it rains, to be honest. Like, it's amazing how little actual neck pain I felt from having a broken neck in 3 places.
Wow.
So you did physical therapy, or what did you do to kind of come back during that 8 weeks?
My brother's a physical therapist too, and I've had no need to. He said try and stay away from obviously a bar on your neck or something like that for another 4 or 5 weeks. But so I wasn't, barbell squatting 315 right off the bat. But I mean, after a month, I mean, I was doing, bent over rows with 225 and doing squats and deadlifts and back to, doing all the core stuff.
I wonder if weight training for all those years actually helped you here. If you were just someone who never did they say anything about that?
That's a good point. No, that's a good point, though. That's a good point.
Because your bones were really super strong, and your bone were able to come back a lot quicker. That bone memory and that muscle memory
definitely would help.
Yeah, and definitely with the sauce too. That helps recovery and everything. That's a really good point. I never even thought about that.
So let's talk a little bit about the cycle you're on now, which was the original contact here. The cycle you're on now, and you had some questions you wanted us to give you some pointers on your current cycle.
Yeah, I was just curious because I know, Steve, you were a big trend guy for a while from what I've heard. I'd never done trend before. I've done like maybe 5 cycles. I waited, except for taking some D-balls in college, I waited all till I was in my 30s. And most recently, it's been like 5 to 600 milligrams test a week, 250 milligrams DECA a week. And the first half of the cycle, because I'm doing like a 6-week and then 6 weeks thing, which I don't know if, people do. It's just something I'm trying. 300 milligrams of tren acetate a week, 100 milligrams 3 days a week for 6 weeks, and which has given me outstanding results. Like, I can't believe how much that tren acetate is able to change your body. It's really bizarre.
Yeah.
And I think I started with a little Anavar as well too. Just in the endurance that gave me right off the bat was just like unbelievable. And so my plan because I have I have more DECA, I have more tests, and I have a Farminolt 300 mix, which is like a nandrolone mix of NPP, DECA, and a couple other nandrolones. So I was gonna, once the trend's gone, jack up the nandrolone to maybe 500 milligrams DECA, 600 milligrams DECA, and I also have a bunch of boldenone cypionate, and I know that 600 milligrams is the sweet spot for that. So I was thinking the second half of the cycle, do the bold DECA test, and because I know you're not supposed to run trend for much longer than 6 weeks, but I want to run, a nice 12, 13, because I'm getting phenomenal results and I'm only halfway through. And I'm just, I don't know if that's a common thing. Do people do kind of switch things up halfway through? That's why I've been doing 250 a DECA just to keep the nandrolone in my system.
Yeah, let me jump in here and I'll let Rick chime in, because Rick's been on the forums a long time and he's read a lot of experiences from guys. Leave me my opinion on trend. The thing is with trend, once you get to 6-7 weeks on trend, it's great the first 4 or 5 weeks, but then when you get to the week 6, week 7, it is a phenomenal steroid for sure, and you're going to get tremendous results on it, fast results, across the board. I mean, it's going to make you a beast. But the thing is, once you get
at it like an oral,
it's just amazing how fast it works and everything. But the thing is, once you get to week 6, week 7, week 8, you just get tired of the side effects. The side effects start really beating the shit out of you, and you're like, I need to get off of this shit. So trying to saying you're going to you want to run it 12, 13 weeks, it's just not realistic, and it's not healthy, because it will destroy your heart health and like no other. And it's so inflammatory in the body, because it does create a lot of PGF2A in your body, which is a very inflammatory chemical in your body. So that affects everything from top to bottom. You're going to have harder time with cardio. You're going to have a harder time breathing. You're going to have a harder time with
I did notice that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not something you want to, so maybe, like pump the brakes.
The plan was to just do 6 weeks. And the reason I was doing the 250 from the DECA from the beginning was to be able to jack it up after that 6 weeks while it's still been going in my body, so it's not like I'm just starting fresh at week 6.
Do you have any more trend now, or you done with it already?
I got about a week maybe left.
Okay, and then after that you're out of trend, right?
Yep, got plenty of nandrolone stuff, plenty of bold, plenty of tests.
I don't.
Yeah,
like
Rick,
trend.
I'm curious what you think, Rick, because I know you've I've heard you talk about a couple of these.
Yeah, I don't like trend anymore.
Because you used to get the pellets, right?
Yeah, I used to extract it from the pellets back in the day, early 2000s.
That's the real deal.
Yeah, it's just it's too harsh for what you're getting out of it. I guess if you're competing at any level, it can help, but just guys like us, regular guys trying to look good with our shirt off, the juice is just not worth the squeeze there. You're gonna have a lot of side effects. Some can be long lasting. And
how many milligrams were you running a week, like when you were really running it?
The most I did was 150 EOD, because it was acetate. It wasn't. I wasn't around.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Haven't had yeah, it was 150 mgs EOD, and because it was
like
extracted from pellets,
450-ish.
Yeah, it would leave a big knots on your on the injection site, which you had to rotate, because it was you extracted from pellets. You were still gonna get some stuff in there no matter what. But the fourth time that I ran it, it started to knock my hair out. I was really stressed out. I was going through a lot, and that can already knock your hair out. And then
another thing from the accident. Sorry to cut you off. The other thing from the accident, I got a huge scar on the middle of my head. So since then, I've shaved my head. So that's no longer been a worry. Thank God. Luckily, I'm pulling off the shaved head beard look.
Yeah, it's a lot of us out there like that.
Yeah, man, it's the way to go.
Yeah, I don't, so if you're out of trend, I personally wouldn't recommend you, or I don't recommend anybody use it anymore. And again, look, if you're a competitor and you have to you have a certain date, you have to be in a certain weight or a certain look by. I get it, but just for just regular looking good, it's just not. My opinion, is just not worth it. Even when you're
Well,
taking it, like Steve was saying, about week 4, week 5, the side effects really start to pour on, and it's just
that's
not comfortable.
exactly where I always planned to stop. I was just curious what you guys thought would be like the optimal second half as far as doses of like Deca, NPP, Boldenone, Cypionate, especially
You're
like
not
the
on
six
T
six.
you're not on TRT, right? You're gonna cycle on, cycle off, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you gotta remember with Deca, it's a long ester. We're talking 15-day half-life on that thing. So it's gonna take a solid 6 weeks to be even out of your system. So if you're gonna
Really?
add it,
Okay.
if you're gonna, let's say you do the Deca to week 12 and you stop the Deca, you're talking 18 weeks where you are gonna be shut down, and that's gonna be hard
As
to
opposed
recover from.
to
I'm just saying,
test is like 2,
no, but people do that
right?
all the time. When people run Deca, they run it for 12 weeks. I mean, that's some people
Yeah.
even run it like longer than that. But I'm just saying, if you're going to be cycling these harsh steroids, you have to keep in mind you're going to have to take time off to allow your HPTA to recover. Unless you're on TRT, you don't care. But if you want to keep a healthy HPTA, like I cycle on and off. What I do, I'm very conservative. I'll run 1 or 2 cycles a year. Very, very conservative.
Like
When I used
fall,
to,
summer, something like that. Fall and summer or something, maybe
well,
like
I'm
that.
saying if I run a 12-week cycle, I'm gonna make sure I'm off for like 25 or 30 weeks, so I can kind of get my HPTA back fully healthy again and functioning. So you want to keep that in mind. So don't get too greedy on the cycle.
I know.
Another thing very
I,
important with an nandrolone is you need to run a DHT derivative with it, because
like a
nandrolones,
Proveron?
yes, Proviron is perfect for it because nandrolones,
Proviron, that's what I meant.
yeah, they convert to DHN, dihydronanolone, in the body, so that swamps
Yep.
your DHT. So that gives you the decadic. When you are
Yep.
on, when you come off, that's very common. So to prevent the decadic, one of the tricks is running a DHT derivative while you're on. And you mentioned you wanted to run Winstrol to finish your cycle. That would work as a DHT derivative. But Rick
Oh,
and I
would
were
it
talking.
really?
Yeah, but Rick and I were talking about that pre-show, and a lot of competitors are run Winnie to kind of finish off the cycle because they want to dry out. But you're not monetizing the cycle. You're not going to get photos where you're submitting it to be a model or anything. You're not going to be competing,
Yeah.
right? So really, there's no
Yeah, I just
point.
want to see what I'm capable of. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, so really, like to finish it off with Winstrol, which is a very, very harsh steroid, there really isn't a point to dry you out. So I would consolidate things. I talked to Rick about this pre-show. That was my opinion on your cycle. Maybe consolidate things a little bit. Maybe run a low amount of tests. If you want to run the DECA, that's fine. Run the DECA, and then you finish off the trend, and then let the test and DECA continue the rest of the cycle along with Proviron, instead of starting to add EQ and adding this and adding that and adding Winstrol.
No, I've been running the DECA since day one with the test, but just 250 a week, and this was my plan. I just wanted to see what you guys thought of it. Was to maybe run DECA till week 10, and just increase it a little bit after the trend, and increase the Boldenone, because I've done maybe like nothing, like 100 milligrams of Bold Cyp twice a week just to get it in my body while I was on the trend. But I was thinking DECA till week 10, Boldenone till the end, and test till week 12 or 14, and then just try and do proper PCT.
I would stick with the DECA and then just swap in Proviron instead of worrying about the EQ. Save the EQ for next cycle, because DECA and EQ are both mild compounds. They there's no yin and yang there. So you're running the test, which is your androgen. You're running the DECA, which is your mild compound, the slow builder, and then you're running the Proviron, which is your DHT derivative. So it's kind of a yin and yang when you do that. And
really?
And I wouldn't even worry about the EQ because there's no point. Save the EQ for next cycle. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's how I would do it. What do you think,
I got a
Rick?
different idea.
What do you think's more? What do you think's more effective? Because I know EQ is supposed to be more safe as far as sides, Would you,
What do you? Let me ask you a
maybe?
question, buddy. Just you said you have now on. You got the test, you got the EQ, and you got DECA, right? Anything else you'd have to go get because you're out of trend. You don't have the Winstrol. You don't have the Proviron, correct?
I don't have the Winstrol yet. The Proviron should be here this week. I have everything else: the NPP, Deca Mix, Deca. I
With
have.
with what you have, the way I would run what you have right now is this. I try to stay under a gram a week, under 1,000 mgs a week. I would run the test D at around 5 to 600, and then I would run each the DECA and the EQ at between 250 to 300 a piece. So you get a total of about
Okay.
a thousand mgs, and just run those three. I like that combination quite a lot. It's my favorite combination has been EQ, DECA, and testosterone.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
That
Look,
that that
the
sounds very practical.
the number one most popular cycle has always been Dianabol Deca testosterone. It's been the
Yeah, that's
number
the
one cycle in the
classic.
store.
Yeah.
And the EQ is basically the same Dianabol hormone. The difference is that it has an ester chain instead of being 17 alkaline. So basically, it's same kind of hormone, just a different. I guess you could call it a different delivery. So I like that
When
cycle
you
quite a
say
bit. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
that sounds great. But when you say Winstrol's harsh though, like because it would be orals with my supplier. He does do like 25 milligram caps, as opposed to like I'm not doing, injectable Winstrol. I've just heard nothing but bad shit about it, and I don't want to do it every day. But
It's the same thing. The oral injectable is the same thing at the end of the day. The thing about Winstrol is that if you look at the literature in the past, they rated it as low side effect because they went off of how much does this aromatize. And yes, Winstrol does not aromatize. So you're not going to get the estrogen side effects. That's what guys based on back in the 80s and 90s.
that's all they looked at.
That's not
That's
all
pretty.
they looked
That's
at, but that's one of the main because they didn't have AIs at the time. So nobody back then wanted to get bitch tits. That was like if you got bitch
yeah,
tits, everyone would make fun of you in the gym, whatever. But
yeah.
now we have AI. So the thing with Winstrol, it strains the shit out of your cholesterol. We know that. I mean, you can run it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, go take your cholesterol, and you'll see that. It strains your heart. It strains the shit out of your liver very harshly. And it burns the shit out of your head hair, which for you is not an issue. But for people like me who have head hair, it is. And then maybe the worst part of it too is what it does to your joints and what it does to your
I
prostate.
heard that.
It will
My
enlarge the shit
supplier
out of your
actually
prostate.
said. My supplier said the same thing. He said he can't stand the way Winstrol makes him feel, and he much prefers Anavar
I got headaches on
for the.
Winstrol too, and I never get headaches. So that tells you how much the
Really?
shit stresses your body. I'm personally not a fan of Winstrol, but you may like it. I don't know. You
Are
may
you an
end up like
Anavar fan?
I am a fan of Anavar and T-Bowl. Those are my two favorite orals. T-Bowl especially because
Oh,
it's cheap. I'm
T-ball.
a cheap fuck. So
T-Bowl's nice.
T-Bowl.
Yeah, T-Bowl's nice.
I love T-Bowl. Yeah.
T-ball's good for cutting like that too.
Yes, it is. T-Bowl
Oh
has very
shit.
low side effects. Yeah, it doesn't aromatize, so it's really good. It's really good for that. You
What
don't
kind?
want to.
What kind of doses you run for something like that usually?
Well, for T-Bowl, 30, 40 milligrams a day is an excellent
Yeah,
dose.
that's not bad.
I'm conservative when it comes to steroids. Some guys will run 50, 60 milligrams. I like to run 30, 40, and that's good enough for me.
Yeah,
So it's a
fair
fantastic
enough.
oral, and it's got low side effects. It is liver toxic though, so you want to make sure that you run your N2 guard when you're using anything
Yep,
liver toxic.
true. Okay, great. Yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah,
I forgot about T-ball.
yeah. When I saw what you sent us in an email, you were proposing taking something like 600 mgs of combined um, DECA, and I would advise against it, especially taking the same amount of DECA and test 1 to 1. You could go about avoiding DECA dig 2 ways. One, I like to run testosterone at twice the amount of the DECA with an androlone, and that'll usually do the trick. That's been pretty classic. Steve also suggests use a Proviron, but then you get into deeper water. Now you have to watch your liver, and you're adding another steroid on there. I think with 3 steroids, you got plenty. 3 steroids, keep them under a gram. You're not competing. You're trying to just look good and make good progress. That should be plenty. If you're having trouble getting to where you want to go with your physique at a gram of steroids a week, 3 different ones, you need to look at your training and your diet and all these other things first then, because a gram is plenty for anybody to make some great progress on. So I would,
What did you say for doses of EQ and DECA?
I would do, I would do EQ and DECA. I would run it at 250 to 300 a piece. 250 to 300 a piece. You got a little 50 meg wiggle room there. With the testosterone E, you want to run it 500 to 600 a piece. So
yeah, I've been doing like 625, something like that.
Let's say you do, you do 500 test or 600 test, and then just run the DECA at 200, and then EQ at 300, and that's plenty, dude. That's a gram combined. You're going to grow in that. You have to grow in it, otherwise there's some other issues. I mean, a gram is plenty for anybody, especially a guy who you're not competing, buddy. This is not. You don't have a certain date to be a certain way by. You could take your sweet ass time with it. And look, you look good now. Looking at your stats, you got to be lean. So take your sweet ass time with it. Just take your time. Make it a marathon.
Would you guys basically advise against ending it with the oral altogether? Basically,
I would. You know what? Look, my opinion on it is this, buddy. I would take a little bit of time off. I would cut it a little bit short. Take some time off and save some of that oral for later. I think. You get to a certain point where you just start to waste money because you're right. You can only make so much progress in a certain amount of time. I like to just squeeze as much as I can out of the smallest doses you can. That's the way you should play.
You're right. I think I needed to hear that too. You're right.
And you're using an
waste of money at time. Yeah.
You're using an AI on this cycle, correct?
Oh yeah, I'm doing a half a milligram of Arimidex every day. I don't know if that's much, but that's what I've been doing every other day.
Yeah, you said half a day?
I've been doing half a day. It's half every other day better.
Okay. Well, I mean, it just depends. Everyone's different. It just depends on how much test you're running, how much DECA you're running. DECA doesn't aromatize as much as test. So if you're running a high dosage of test, then you want to basically, make sure that's balanced. But blood work is going to be the key. You want to make sure you get blood work. You don't want your estrogen levels too low, and you don't want it too high. You want it balanced. So don't drop it too low. Don't overdose the AI too much.
Because the thing I see most commonly is a half a mil every other day, and that's just what I see the most. I don't know if you guys personally, stick to something like that, or if you do a half a day. I don't know what's.
Some of it, you got to play it a little bit by how you feel and how you look, and if you can get tests done every so often. But there's been times when you have to do a little bit more just because you're retaining water, and you can tell estrogen is getting high. You might have a little bit of sensitivity around your nipples, and you could tell. And there are times when you're going to feel brittle. You're going to start flushing water. You're going to feel your joints hurt you, and estrogen's kind of low. And again, you can always follow it up with a blood test, but you have to kind of play it by ear. Now, from what you're describing, half a mig, ED, EOD, you could, you really have to kind of go on what you feel on that one.
Maybe I'll try that for a week or so and see how it feels.
Yeah,
they don't have an endless supply of the tabs either.
Everybody's different, so it'd be hard to tell you straight up if you need.
Yeah, of course.
Every day or every other day, you really have to go by feeling and how you look and how everything's working.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah,
no, that's great advice. I'm glad I called because I mean, especially since the trend's about to run out. I mean, hearing that it's best to, especially because I got that weird Farminal 300 NPP DECA mix, like with putting that in together with regular DECA. I mean, I don't want to DECA and all that other stuff has been a big fear, so I don't want to I don't want to go crazy with that shit. Yeah, I know EQ is a lot safer.
Rick and I have differing opinions. We gave you some differing opinions.
I know.
We both agree. You need to consolidate the cycles. No matter what, we both agree you need to consolidate things instead of just adding stuff, throwing stuff in just for the hell of it, and switching stuff up and stuff. Just try to treat this as a long-term marathon because a lot of guys want to build Rome in one cycle, and it's just I know, you're right. And then the next time, you learned from your last one. Exactly.
Like I said, it's only my fourth. I mean, I'm gonna do a couple more at least, and then I'm gonna learn for each time. I mean, every compound is new to me, so. And
I would suggest not running Tren over and over and over again because it speeds your body down so much that you will basically end up injured because you're so fucking strong on tren.
I know your body can't keep up with it. I know
exactly. You'll start
And
blowing
aggressive
out
too in the gym. Yeah.
and you'll be cheating on your fiance. You'll be cheating on your wife, fiance. This shit makes you,
honestly,
go crazy.
To be perfectly honest, I just wanted to try it once, and it's not something I'm dying to do again. Even though the results are fantastic, the aggression is a little much, and I haven't had horrible sides at 300 a week, but it's not something I'm planning to do again anytime soon. I loved what I got from it, and it's no doubt, a great thing that's extremely powerful, but not something I'm in a rush to do again if I even do it again.
I'm very active. I love to do a lot of outdoor stuff, and right now I stay away from it. But back in the day when I was just in the gym, a gym rat, just lifting every day like a gorilla, I loved it. So it just depends on your lifestyle and stuff. But I love doing stuff, especially now in the summer. Love going to the beach and swimming and kayaking and all that stuff. So it's I like to do cardio, so it doesn't fit my lifestyle now. So it just depends on cardio. It depends on your goals.
Yeah, I think nowadays. I think after so many years in this, I think there are no really specific cutting or bulking agents. I think you can cut up pretty good on DECA and testosterone, if that's what your diet and your training reflects, and you can bulk and gain mass on Anavar and Primobolan if you're eating that way and you're training that way. So
you're right.
Just having those hormones in your system that are well beyond what your natural body can produce, you're already at an advantage. And then it's just your diet and your training which brings it in. Now I'm talking about guys like us, guys who are going to stay in between 8, 9 to 12% body fat. When you're getting to competitions and you're trying to get to 5%, 4%, then you definitely would want to have a Winstrol or a Trenbolone instead of a DECA, instead of a testosterone.
That's a different
when you
ballpark,
get down that road. Yeah. But if we're talking about, 9, 10, 11% body fat, you can just get there and look shredded and look hard on DECA and
that's
testosterone.
A lot more than the average guy. You're right.
Absolutely.
You're totally right.
So I just my opinion for us now is just focus on that first. And that's why I asked, what do you have? I'm not going to tell you go and buy this, go and buy that. Now, what do you have? You got test, you got DECA, you got EQ. Boom. Two parts test, 1 part DECA, 1 part EQ. You're good to go. Full 1 gram. You're going to grow like a weed on that.
Yeah, I think I'm convinced that I think the Winstrol can wait till next time, But I'm glad I asked.
I'm gonna send you some N2Guard and some HC generators, a gift for your cycle, and I'll send you some instructions on how to incorporate it. Yeah, absolutely.
I've been dying to try that shit, man. I've been dying to try that stuff.
Oh, you're gonna love it. I
really appreciate it. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, so I'll make sure to get that to you, and I'll tell you how to best use it for your cycle. I'll get you a bottle of each, and you can hold that and use it right at the end for PCT.
Awesome, man. And do you use HCG? Like, what do you think would be the best PCT for this type of cycle? That's my last question.
Have you done? And you've cycled before. What did your other PCTs look like before, and what results do you have?
Clomid, Teremethine the last couple times, and I think I used Proviron, Proviron last time, just as a little bit the first couple weeks, just because some juice head in the gym said it was good to hang on to gains. I used that for like 2 weeks, just like 25 mgs a day, and I got pretty good results from that. But I don't know. I never did HCG, and it's just as people have been telling me about it. But I was thinking I was going to stick to Clomid if I can get the DECA out of my system, because I know you're not supposed to do Nolvadex necessarily with Tren or Nandrolone. If I can, I was going to do Nova and Clomid, and I don't know.
What I recommend,
unless you guys are.
What I recommend.
I don't know.
For a base of a PCT is your SERM. Okay, run your SERM. You can run Clomid, you can run Nolvadex, you run Teremethine, but run your SERM low dose. I see these on the internet, people telling people to run 200-300 milligrams a day of Clomid or 50,
Yes,
60
me
milligrams
too.
a day of
It's so
Clomid.
confusing.
No,
It's so
don't
confusing.
listen.
They're like day
Don't do
one, take
that.
300. I'm like, what?
No, don't. You're gonna feel like shit on it. Run a
I
low
know.
dose. No
Like
more than
50 a
25.
day or so.
No more than 25 milligrams a day of Clomid, and no more than 10 or 20
Wow.
milligrams a day of Nolvadex. That's plenty because they have long habit. And then run a strong testosterone booster like N2 Generate, which we're gonna send you. AC Generate, N2 Generate. We're gonna send that to you. Run that with it because that's gonna offset the side effects that you'll get from those SERMs. That's a base of a PCT. Do not run HCG and PCT because HCG is gonna suppress.
I didn't want to either.
It's gonna suppress your pituitary glands. And then the Proviron, some guys, Rick and I were talking about this pre-show. I've seen blood work from guys who've run Proviron at a very low dose, did not get suppressed on it. But I've also seen guys run it and get suppressed. So that's up in the air. I don't know. I don't know
if they gotta come in. I'd rather use it at the end of the cycle anyway. If you guys are generous enough to send me the stuff to take with the SERMs,
but
I'd
there's
much rather
options.
do that anyway.
Some guys run the Cardarine, some guys run the Ostrine, but the base of a good PCT is your SERM and your natural test booster, and that will work perfectly for you. So run the N2 guard on cycle, and then run that AC Generate, N2 Generate, what we're sending you for PCT, along with your SERM. That's a good base, and then your body will recover, assuming you didn't go into cycle with a bad HPTA. Because did you run blood work before your cycle?
I did not. No.
Yeah, so we don't know. Your HPTA could have been shit before you started your cycle.
I know.
So that's
you've
been using steroids for 4 or 5 cycles already. Your HPTA. Go ahead, Rick.
And at this point, you got to wait until after PCT is done to get the blood work because whatever blood work you get done now, it's going to look crazy. It's going
to be garbage.
Yeah, it's going to look crazy. So
it's going to be all over the place.
You want to wait until PCT is done with, and look, Clomid and N2 Generate, AC Generate, we used to call it. It's a great stack. It's great for testosterone production, and you're gonna feel great on it.
I can't tell you how much I appreciate that, but like one more time, well, like I'm talking day one, you said 25 of Clomid, not even 50, because everything on the internet I'm reading is fucking way off. If that's accurate.
I've done as much as 100 mgs of Clomid, never going over that. I'm fine with just 25 to 50 mgs of Clomid a day. I'd never needed much more than that, especially with AC Generate. Don't need any more than that.
Same thing for 4 weeks, or you lower it, or you taper, or
I do 6 weeks on
okay.
That. Yeah, 6 weeks. 2 weeks after your last injection, go 6 weeks.
Yep.
That's gonna prevent you from crashing. PCTs to prevent a crash. Then your body will recover from there, and you can take more You can take the N2 Generate, AC Generate after that. Get another bottle and run it continuously to kind of make you feel better. It's not going to interfere with your natural testosterone production. It's just going to make you feel better and kind of boost things.
I absolutely will.
You see what I'm saying?
I absolutely will. But like, 4 weeks of the same thing.
Yeah, about 6 week PCT. And then you can do another 4 weeks of the N2 Generate.
Beautiful.
So we're going to send you those. One last question before we let you go. New England Patriots, are they going to win the Super Bowl again? Because you're in Boston.
Oh, do you have to ask? I mean, come on. Like, I know you guys don't want to hear this, but what are you going to do? I mean, I'm sorry.
Well,
what are we going to do? I mean, it's the Patriots.
Tom Brady needs to retire already. So,
all right, buddy. Whatever.
If you have any more questions, buddy, we don't want to cut you off. You have any more questions? Go ahead.
No. You guys have helped me so much. I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate everything.
All right, buddy. We appreciate
problem,
you
glad to help.
calling in. We appreciate you guys calling in. Guys, if you guys want to call in too, contact me, Steve Smi, on the forums. We'd love to have you on. For Steve Smi, Rick, and our guest Seth from Boston, Massachusetts.
Boston, baby.
This is another episode of Evolutionary Radio. Thanks for listening.
Have a good day.
Thanks, guys.
Good day.